Welcome to the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast, where it is never too early for fantasy football. My name is Jeff.
And I'm Jerome.
As always, thank you for downloading, listening, liking, and commenting on our podcast videos. Please join our community by subscribing to us on the socials. Our handle on all platforms is at N2E Fantasy. We are also available on all major podcasting apps by searching N2E Fantasy. Jerome, what do we have on today's show?
On this episode of the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast, we are recapping Week 9, getting ready for Week 10, but first, we've got to start with the NFL trade deadline. And man, there were some moves today. So let's talk about it, Jeff.
Yeah, as you were saying, the trade deadline has passed. The first major one that came through across our desk today was Jaguars acquiring Raiders wide receiver Jakobi Meyers. Where do you believe that he will fit in the depth chart, especially with Travis Hunter out? And it looks like Brian Thomas Jr. is battling an injury as well.
Yeah, I think Jakobi. Is it crazy to say that he's the one? I mean, Brian Thomas Jr. has not been good. It sounds like he's injured, but he's not been good. And I don't know. I mean, maybe Myers is what the Jags, a guy like Myers is what the Jags offense needs.
Absolutely. It could be, and it'll be interesting to see what Myers does with Hunter out, because I'm assuming he overtakes Jawami Brown and Parker Washington. Like, you don't make a trade like this and take a back seat to players like that. Brendan Strange is out, so that they don't really have a tight end either. So there's definitely targets to go around right now. It does seem like Trevor Lawrence is using his legs more than his arm right now to score and get victories, which is interesting. Didn't see that really coming this year. But as we'll find out later, that they do have a winning record at this point. So
yeah, I feel like Trevor Lawrence is using his legs because he's still trying to figure out the offense. I think he's not going through the reads very well. He's not passing very well. He's not been a great quarterback this year. I just wonder if he's just passing or if he's going through his reads, first read, then boom, tucks the ball and starts to run.
Absolutely. And I think this is why more quarterbacks aren't traded at the trade deadline. And if you want to give anyone some props on things here, Joe Flacco for picking up the Bengals offense so quickly deserves some props there. But yeah, that's our first big trade. Our second big trade is a defensive player, but it does lead to an offensive player, so you'll see that here in a second. But the Colts acquired Jets cornerback Sauce Gardner for 2 first-round picks. So this is a big trade. This will affect starting wide receivers against the Colts. And coming back to New York in the trade was the 2 firsts, as I had mentioned. And then you got to add in A.D. Mitchell as well. It sounds like A.D. Mitchell will probably be their 3 when Garrett Wilson's healthy. What's your take on that?
You know, I think the Jets realize that until they have a QB, you know, you're playing for the future. And they made some trades today to add not only these 2 firsts, but some other picks as well. And I mean, it's almost like, what's the point? You know, what's the point of having Sauce if there's no QB, there's no wins? I mean, Sauce obviously wasn't playing very well this year. I think it's interesting that a defensive coach trades, you know, his star defensive back. I thought that was pretty telling, but there's no doubt in his capabilities. But I mean, his PFF scores these past couple of years, Sauce's, I mean, they haven't been great. You know, they haven't been great versus his first 2 years. So, I mean, he's not quite the same, but which is why I think when the Jets got 2 first-round picks before they even before they even gave Sauce his second contract, I felt like that was probably a no-brainer. They may use those picks as ammunition to move up in the draft and get a QB, or they may just start to build the team, maybe have Fields back next year or another QB, another bridge QB next year, and then just keep waiting for that right guy to draft.
Yeah, the beat reporters, not actually even New York beat reporters, were under the impression that the Jets were going to trade for a quarterback this offseason. Now, I don't know if that means like a Kyler Murray or if it means something bigger, better. I don't know what that exactly means, but that's my impression right now.
Well, there's dots to connect there. I think you're also seeing handful of these backups, handful of these veteran backups are doing well this year, and that may not be a bad idea either. I mean, the fans aren't going to be happy, but I mean, they got to have somebody to run the offense. They got to have somebody to get the ball to Garrett Wilson and free up some running lanes for Brees Hall.
Yeah, they did keep Brees Hall as a spoiler alert. So, and I believe he's a free agent going into this year. So they must be thinking they're going to be able to negotiate a deal or tag him, or not even sure he's worth the tag right now. But Jets are going to jet.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's not saying that he's not a good player. It's just saying that he hasn't performed up to standard yet. So, or been on a good enough offense to perform up to standard. That may not even be him, to be honest.
Right. Yeah, there's not a lot there.
The offense didn't get much worse though. So if you were starting Brees before this, you should be starting Brees after this. So
right.
And A.D. Mitchell might even stretch the offense more. If only Fields could complete a long ball part of his part.
Yeah, Fields I still think hasn't thrown an interception this year, right? But part of that could be from just playing it safe, low A dot type of game.
He does play it safe. All right. But a team that's not playing it safe, and we'll kind of get to why a little bit later, especially because they played a primetime game this week. But the Seahawks acquired Saints wide receiver Rashid Shaheed. You would think that he would slot in as the number 3 wide receiver behind Cooper Kupp and JSN. But then you also have Torrey Horton that performed quite well in primetime this week as well. So it's good. It's a tight depth chart. He should be able to get 3 to 4 targets a game, and it gives Sam Darnold another weapon, which he's having one of the best years of his career, if not the best year of his career. Where do you believe Shaheed will fit in this offense?
I think Shaheed's the 2. I think there's no doubt about it. I mean, I just think Kupp. I mean, you put a guy with Shaheed's explosion on that offense versus a guy
Different
like
skill
Kupp.
set, yeah.
I just don't see how you take Shaheed off the field.
You don't.
For a guy like Kupp.
You probably take Horton off the field. You have Kupp, JSN, and Shaheed out there, and then you probably rotate Kupp and Horton, in my opinion, because Shaheed's young enough to be able to keep running these and experienced enough, whereas I don't think Horton's experienced enough, and I think Kupp's on the back 9, so that's why I would do it like that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But I think that other than JSN, it's going to be really hard to pinpoint the wide receiver to start that week.
Yeah, same as it is now.
Yep. And we'll get to that in a little bit, but that ends our trade deadline talk. The rest of the trades were pretty much defensive based. And as you know, we're mostly a fantasy show here. So we have week 9 recap here, where we had bye weeks of the Browns, Jets, Eagles, and Buccaneers. And the first matchup that we had was Thursday night. It was Lamar Jackson returning the Ravens at the Dolphins. The 3 of us picked the Ravens. So, as I said, Lamar has finally returned. And the Ravens dominate the Dolphins 28-6. Lamar Jackson throws for 4 passing touchdowns, no rushing here, so it sounds like he's going to be eased back into the rushing aspect. Derrick Henry also showed some life, and he should have a lot of tread on his tires this year because he did not run a lot in earlier games this season, so he should have some tread as we start winding towards the playoffs. And he had a 100-yard game here. Achane and Waddle stay hot for the Dolphins. Waddle actually stayed with the Dolphins, which was a little bit of a surprise to some. And Tua had another rough outing, and the rumor is that he could be benched at some point this season, that his job is not safe. Mike McDaniel, his job is safe for this year as of right now, but the Dolphins did fire their GM Chris Grier after this, and Chris Grier's been with the team for a decade or more in various roles, even longer than being a GM. So this was a pretty big move for the Dolphins and a signaling of the change of the guard.
Yeah, the Dolphins are a mess. I like McDaniel, but I could see them moving on at the end of the season, have a new GM, pick the new coach, typical stuff. What to do with Tua, I don't know. I always thought he was a really good leader. He was a leadership kind of guy, but that seemed to go out the window this year. It's just not worked. As for the Ravens, I don't think this was the Ravens playing well. I think this was the Dolphins defense playing poorly. You still got to give the Ravens credit, but it felt like Lamar kind of like game managed this game to 4 touchdowns. I feel like he didn't, he wasn't pushed to win this game. They just did their thing and scored 4 times. Henry, he got some carries again. He only averaged like 11 carries through weeks 2 through 5, and now finally these past couple weeks he's back up to like 20 carries on average, which is more his thing, and that seems to be working for him. In the stats category, but I don't know. I feel like Henry's almost done. If I was in a fantasy league, I would not trade for Derrick Henry right now.
I traded for him
That's
today. Come on.
Yeah, that's for you, buddy. So no, I think he's fine, but
He
who
should have
knows what you're
tread.
gonna get? Yeah,
He
who knows
should
what you're
have
gonna get?
tread. We'll see. But
Yeah, we'll see.
sometimes all you got to do is what the other team allows you to do. And you said the Ravens kind of backed into a victory here. So sometimes that's all you got to do is back in. And this was a great first game for Lamar coming back. So I think this is a great ease-in game, in my opinion. So it'll get harder now. Although, I don't know if you saw the Ravens schedule, it's pretty weak after, other than divisional matchups. And even with divisional matchups right now, it's pretty weak, even in the division. So the rest of their games here for the year, you're looking at the Vikings, so JJ McCarthy and the Vikings. You got the Browns, you got the Jets, you got the Bengals, you have the Steelers at home, you have the Bengals again, you have the Patriots, which is probably their hardest matchup, the Packers, and then the Steelers on the road to end the season. Up until the last 3, they should be favored in every single game.
Yeah, Steelers in Pittsburgh, Week 18. That could decide
That'll
the
be the
division.
Sunday night game, right? That'll be the last game of the regular season if what you're saying comes to fruition.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
that is something I look forward to and hope that we see. Anything else on this matchup before we hop over to the next one?
Nope, nothing else.
All right. Falcons at Patriots is our second matchup here. We all picked the Patriots. The Patriots did win this matchup. Penix has one of his best days as a pro, especially on the road, but the Falcons still lose 24-23. Looks like Parker Romo, I think he has a third name too, got released after missing the extra point that could have been the one that tied this up. So Penix ended up with 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions, and Drake London was the recipient of all 3 of those touchdowns. I think the Patriots were less impressive in this game, with the exception of Pop Douglas, who has 100 yards through the air. No other really notable fantasy outputs from the players this week.
Yeah, Pop is warming up with Booty being hurt.
Hamstring.
Ramondre was hurt, though that running back room definitely is a little bit of a mess. As for Atlanta, yeah, they missed that point after, came back to haunt them. Well, I guess the point after was towards the end of the game, I think. Nice to see Drake London balling. I feel like we've been waiting for this wide receiver one season to potentially happen. It was supposed to happen with Kirky last year, and we got let down. And this is great. So, I mean, hopefully he stays healthy and keeps it going.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't really have too much else on this matchup. Anything else that you noticed?
No, nothing else.
It was a very close game, but it also felt like a boring game at the same time because I feel like all the Patriots points came in the first quarter / first half, and then they just coasted to the victory. That's what it felt like watching it on Red Zone.
Yeah, Bijan was kind of nullified a little bit too.
Yeah, that's really weird, to be honest. I don't know. Do you go out and trade for Bijan in leagues this week?
Always.
All right. The next matchup, we could talk all day on this next matchup here. The Panthers at the Packers. All three of us picked the Packers. All three of us were very wrong as the Panthers walk it off to a 16-13 victory. 0 passing touchdowns in this game. Bryce Young and Rico Dowdle, when they're starting in the lineup together, they are undefeated. So, and I think if Bryce and Dowdle would have played against the Bills, I'm not saying they would have beat the Bills, but this would have not been a 40-7 victory. I think Dowdle would have ran on them, and I don't think Bryce would have turned it over like Dalton did. So I think it would have been a much closer affair. But the line in this game was 13.5 points when I had last looked in the favor of the Packers. So not only could have you won with the money line, you could have won with the point spread as well, and big. And then you have Dowdle here, as I just mentioned, with 130 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. And Romeo Doubs was the one here for the Packers. Like, I never know who's the one for the Packers, whether it's going to be a Wicks week, a Watson week, Reed when he's back week, Tucker Kraft week. Unfortunately, Tucker Kraft tore his ACL in this game, and he'll be out for the year. And he tore it early enough, so 10 months from now, you're looking at September. So he should be full strength by the beginning of September next year, and kickoff next year is actually a little bit later than normal, so he should be good for week 1. Maybe even on a limited snap count, but he should be good for week 1 as long as it was a clean tear. And Josh Jacobs has a good game on the ground as well. And Jerome, do you believe that the Panthers can make the playoffs here?
I was just looking at their schedule. They do play the Saints twice coming up, but a lot of their other games are tough. They got Tampa Bay, they've got Atlanta, they've got San Fran, Rams, Seattle, and Tampa Bay twice. So I don't know. I mean, I think they're going to make it interesting. I think they've got a better chance at making the playoffs than the Dallas Cowboys do.
Me
But
too.
I don't know. I don't know if that's saying much. As for this game, this was Dowdle. I mean, that's the story. I mean, Dowdle had a $130 on the ground and 2 TDs. This was his first game, first career game with multiple touchdowns, multiple rushing touchdowns. I mean, it's hard to believe that he's just getting hotter almost.
Don't look now. He's RB.
It's wild.
RB 9 and
Good
a
for
half
him.
point PPR.
Good for him. I felt like he was good on the Cowboys too. And they moved on. I mean, hard to argue with them bringing in Javonte, but I mean, when you watch the Cowboys games, Javonte looks good in his own right. But I mean, they create some holes. That you could drive a bus through. I mean, Dowdle could run through those holes too. So, I mean, some of the credit goes to the O-line comparatively, but yeah, Brees, I mean, I'm not a Brees believer, but it's hard to argue with what they're doing right now. I mean, he's doing just enough. I almost wonder if Dowdle is kind of helping open up some passing lanes, take some pressure off, stopping the opposing defense from blitzing. I don't know. It all comes together. It all affects the other. So as for the Packers, I don't know, Jordan Love. It's like 1 minute I think he's, league MVP, and then the next minute it's like, there's no touchdowns. So I don't know, but his supporting cast is good. It did get a little weaker now without Tucker Kraft, but I mean, I think at some point Reed is going to come back, and we'll see.
I agree. I have an extension that I was weighing on Love, and I probably will not use it as of right now. So I don't know what to do with him going forward. He's currently quarterback 11, and that's with like Kyler Murray missing time, Lamar Jackson missing time, Jaden Daniels missing time. So could be much lower, actually. And even so, Sam Darnold's one spot below Jordan Love in Fantasy Pros right now, or 2 spots, actually. And he started kind of slow because I don't think he completely understood the offense. And as he's learned the offense, he's gotten much hotter as well. All right. Anything else on the Packers Panthers? I could talk about this all day.
No, nothing else.
All right. We got the Bears at the Bengals next. This was a kind of a crazy ending game here. You and I picked the Bengals. Alex picked the Bears. And 37-42 win for the Bears here in a shootout. So Alex does pick up the lone victory here. Williams and Flacco combined for 7 passing touchdowns. I think it's pretty safe here to say any game that the Bengals are in is going to be a shootout going forward. DJ Moore had a passing touchdown as well. Kyle Monangai has a great game versus one of the lowest rated rushing defenses in the league, but I've seen players not put up the stats that Monangai did against the Bengals. So for him to actually do it when the opportunity was there, that's like a huge good sign going forward for him. And Swift better watch out for his job.
Mm-hmm.
Colston Loveland has a game-winning touchdown, which was an absolutely insane throw, catch, run, missed tackles, everything all in one. But he went 7 targets for 6 catches, 118 yards, and 2 touchdowns for him. Would love to have seen the Bears move off of DJ Moore and or Cole Kmet, because I think Loveland and Burden and Odunze deserve more opportunities, but that did not happen. Think that is the illusion of the Bears, that they believe that they're a contender. They also gave up 42 points to the Bengals. So I know the Bengals have 2 great receivers, but they also have a 40-something-year-old quarterback, and that's not good. That's not a playoff caliber team in my opinion. But you called it here, Jerome. It was a Higgins day.
Yeah, I was going to keep calling it until it happened.
You won. Did you start him?
Started him in one league.
Did you
Benched him in the other. Benched him in the other. Yeah. Yeah. So that was a tough one. Yeah. Cost me a loss. But, Flacco's throwing it like 40 times a game. And it's like Chase is getting 15 targets and the other Chase is getting 10 targets and, the other 15 are being spread out. I just felt like it was only a matter of time before somebody kind of got shut down by a defense and all those passes were going to go T. And that kind of happened this game where T and Jamar seemed to get most of the targets. They're fun to watch. They're fun to have guys on your fantasy team. I mean, it's just unbelievable what Flacco's doing. As for the Bears, Monangai, he runs like Pacheco. He has that hard running style, that stomping, rushing motion that works, until you break your fibula. But he looked really good. But these defenses stink. These defenses are going to make any offense look good. And that's exactly what happened in this game. Ben Johnson was using all sorts of trickeration. Tyson Bagent threw it back to Caleb Williams on one play. There was some wild stuff going on. The Bengals used an onside kick to get the ball back late in the game after scoring a touchdown. I find that the onside kicks interesting since I find successful onside kicks interesting since they're used so much less now and you have to tell the other team when you're doing the onside kick. It's almost like, how in the world are these ever going to be successful? So need to give the Bengals props for figuring that out this week. But this one was fun to watch with the offenses and the poor defenses.
Yeah, that one wasn't so hard to explain because it hit off of a Bears player and the Bengals just jumped on it. It went like 9 yards. So that was a gaffe, in my opinion, by the Bears. And then for the Bengals just to let the Bears march down the field, you could see that Jamar Chase was frustrated. He was asking for one stop. and they couldn't get the one stop, so there's that. But yeah, that's all I have on this game. Anything more from you?
No, that's all I got.
All right. So we have the Broncos at the Texans. Sadly, Alex is not here for this one. Alex and Jerome picked the Texans. I picked the Broncos, and the Broncos win a defensive battle as Stroud is knocked out early, 18-15. And interestingly enough, Bo Nix hasn't done a lot of running this year, or less running than last year. And it was his running in the fourth quarter that won them this game and got them into field goal range to get the game-winning kick. He does have a mediocre day through the air as well, and I expected more from the receivers and the backs all around in this game, not just on the Broncos side, but also on the Texans side as well. Like there's really no one of note to bring up.
Yeah, the Texans offense, they just can't get it going. I'm curious to see how Davis Mills performs, assuming that he'll start this week after Stroud got the concussion. I mean, Stroud got hurt on a slide, which is interesting.
Late hit, too, I believe.
Yeah, and I don't think that was called. But, and the hit was to the chest. So, I mean, it wasn't even a hit to the head. It was just the chest that caused the whiplash back onto the field. I don't know. Such a hard play to police, especially when the quarterback is sliding. But it looked a little sloppy. The slide looked a little sloppy. I don't know if he waited too long. I don't know. Sometimes I almost wonder if just the head first slide makes more sense than the other slide.
Yeah, I don't really know.
Because you could kind of like pick where you're putting your head, right? You go down, you can see where you're going, you slide down. I mean, if guys jump on you, they're jumping on your back while you're laying on the ground. I mean, that just seems like a safer, less injury prone situation than, like the leg first and you're upright. I mean, look at Trevor Lawrence. Didn't Trevor Lawrence get hurt last year with that, that upright slide? Wasn't one of the Texans guys that came in and hit him? And
it may have knocked him out a game.
I think he had like the alligator arms after that hit.
What I'm thinking of is the Tua hit against the Bills where he went headfirst into a defender, and that didn't really work out too well for him.
Yeah, no, I guess that's different than what I'm describing. But I mean, I'm sure in the heat of the moment, you got to make a split second decision. So does the defender, and stuff's going to happen. But as for the Broncos, I mean, they did what they had to do. Like you said, defensive battle. Both these Ds are good. Both these offenses looked not great. Harvey got a touchdown. They just grinded it out.
Yeah, that might be the top two defenses in the league.
In points against, yeah, you might be right.
Absolutely, and obviously Patrick Surtain was missing, and that's why I think the Texans were a little more disappointing for me. All right, anything else on this one? All right, so I won that matchup by myself. This next matchup was the Colts at the Steelers. You and Alex both picked the Colts. I picked the Steelers. Rodgers was injured pregame, and he did play. He did gut it out, but they won 27-20. So I'll take another solo victory here. And Jaylen Warren in this matchup has a midday through the ground, but he did end up with 2 rushing touchdowns, which is all important in fantasy football. Mm-hmm. And Jones has his worst day as a Colt, but I did mention that this was a one-game aberration just due to it being outside, cold. They're used to playing a controlled area. There's better days ahead for the Colts, in my opinion. Like, this doesn't tell me anything differently. It tells me that they need to have the Super Bowl go through Indianapolis. So they need to have the whole AFC go through Indianapolis, and they'll be fine, which they're kind of still in the driver's seat to be able to do that. If they have to go to Orchard Park to go to Buffalo, that to me, for the AFC championship game, say if that's the AFC title game, the Buffalo and Indy in Buffalo, I think Buffalo would have to be a severe favorite in that matchup. So something to store away in the back of your brain for later, but they did acquire Sauce Gardner, cold weather player. Daniel Jones, cold weather player. So they are aware of this, whether it's inadvertent or advertent. They are aware of this, and they're trying to get some tougher, colder players. But Jonathan Taylor has a down game as well. But Pittman and Pierce go over 100 yards, and Downs gets the touchdown. Don't really see anything big in the Steelers' pass game. It was done through the ground with Warren getting his 2 rush touchdowns. What say you on this game?
Colts had 6 turnovers. It's tough to win when you're doing that to yourself. You know, the Steelers' defense, I mean, they did the job. I mean, I'm not sure how many of the turnovers they forced. And I know TJ Watt had strip sack. There was another blitz that the ball was tipped and another guy caught it. I mean, so they were definitely active and they were creating some of those. So they deserve some credit. But, Rodgers had a Rodgers type game, keeps it simple. Keeps it at 200 yards, keeps it at, a couple of touchdowns. Happy to see Warren score his first touchdowns of the year, but his efficiency wasn't all that great. He rushed for 1.9 yards per carry this game. I mean, I feel like the touchdowns are the only thing that really salvaged his fantasy day. I don't know. I mean, I give the Steelers a lot of credit. I mean, because it just felt like everything was against him. Everybody was against them. They had already lost a couple of games. The best team in the AFC was coming to Pittsburgh. It just felt like, that this division was going to be handed to the Ravens. And the Steelers fought back, and they're going to make this tough on the Ravens.
Yep. I think they both could make the playoffs, so I think you get 2 or 3 teams from the West, and you definitely going to get Buffalo and New England at this point. And I think you're only going to get the Colts right now from the North. Or not the North, the South. So the West and the North are fighting for 2 division winners plus 2 wild cards.
Right.
So it's possible. It's possible. I just don't know if the Broncos and the Chargers go away easily. And I don't know how you feel on this, but for me, the NFL is always more interesting when there's more playoff contenders and we don't know all the playoff teams going into the last week. So that is a possibility right now with what is here.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else here? All right. Chargers at Titans are our next matchup. All 3 of us picked the Chargers. Chargers did win this game, although at times the Chargers seem to be their own worst enemy and win this one only 27-20. Another offensive line injury to Joe Alt, and he will miss the rest of the season this time and needs surgery. So that's a pretty big injury. They did trade for an offensive lineman from the Saints today as well. Herbert leads the rushing for the Chargers, which isn't good. He has 3 total touchdowns. You need to have Vidal, or I know Haskins went on IR. I know Hampton's not coming back until after the bye week now at the very earliest, so that's kind of trash. And speaking of trash, Cam Ward he regressed this week. And honestly, this first year for him, he's already had 2 coaches and we're in week 9. I don't see how it's possible for him to actually benefit from this year at this point.
No, I think I mean, he needs the reps, right? He was an somewhat inexperienced college QB, right? I mean, I don't think he got a ton. He wasn't like a 4-year player, was he? Or I should say he had his last year at Miami was his one big year, right? He had one big year, even if he was experienced in college. But I mean, I'm seeing the passing yards go up. I had said that last week. So I mean, I think he's starting to figure it out. I think it's starting to come together for him. Chargers, Kamani Vidal, he is really putting us on a roller coaster right now. I mean, I just looked up his scoring. So
Boom bust.
his past 5 games, he's scored 3, 25, 7, 25, and 6 fantasy points. I thought this was a smash spot for him. Tennessee stinks. I just felt like game script, everything was going to be in their favor. And, it just it just didn't turn into that. I mean, I started Vidal over T. Higgins because of that in combination with Flacco and the AC joint and not sure what was going to happen. You know, I thought Vidal was the sure thing, or at least the highest floor.
That didn't
So,
work out the best.
yeah, next week Vidal plays the Steelers. I mean, I think their defense is crap, even though they shut down the Colts last week. So, you know, I might be tempted to play Vidal again.
I mean, this would be a good week for him, right? Up, down, up, down, up, down.
It's the up week, you know,
Yep.
and the Bengals are on bye. So I don't have to choose between him and Higgins.
That is fair. That is fair. All right. So, anything else on this matchup? I really don't like discussing the Titans right now, just for the obvious of they're not good. They're not going to improve this year. I mean, you might see incremental improvements from Ward, but they're not going to really be a team that you're expecting to win weekly.
I agree.
I think they're going to be underdogs in every single game after this. All right. So we can hop over to the Vikings with the Lions. This might be the shocker of the week. And I know the Panthers at Packers was one that could be a shocker. But the Lions here, we all picked the Lions. And McCarthy does just enough to win it for the Vikings. So we all three took the L on this one. And the Vikings win it 27-24. Justin Jefferson has a decent game. He gets the touchdown, but only 47 yards. This is the biggest complaint, the biggest worry, biggest everything for playmakers on the Vikings with JJ McCarthy back there. What was interesting in this game is Aaron Jones does outperform Jordan Mason, and then you also have Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery totaling for 65 rushing yards. That is not good. That was one of the reasons why they lost. St. Brown and Laporta in this one finished just short of 100 yards each. But you got to rush better, especially for the Lions here. And JJ McCarthy has to find a way to feed Jefferson, Addison, even Hawkinson in some circumstances as well. And I don't know if he can do that.
He can't, at least not yet. I mean, this is what we're going to get. I mean, JJ McCarthy's going to throw for 143 yards. That's where he's at right now. And I mean, the team did win, but from a fantasy perspective, it's just not there. You know, and if Jefferson didn't catch the touchdown, it would have been only 47 yards, right? So it's a tough pill to swallow, but this is where we're at with everybody in that offense. I mean, even Hawkinson, I think Hawkinson was 2 for 10, something like that, with the touchdown. I mean, the touchdown made the highlights, but he still didn't even get to 10 fantasy points with it. So I don't know. I just hope he wakes up, hope he figures it out, hope he starts passing for over 200 yards like Ward has started to.
Yeah, this isn't the Justin Jefferson first round pick that we drafted. So, all right, let's hop on to the 49ers at the Giants. We all picked the 49ers. The 49ers won 34-24. Mac Jones wins in what could be his last start. However, I did find it interesting that people were pointing out this week that Brock Purdy has been practicing, doing everything that Mac Jones is doing in practicing, and still not start. He's traveling with the team again, and he's still not starting. So I don't know what that means. I do think Kyle Shanahan really likes Mac Jones. I do think he likes Brock Purdy as well. So I think he might be a little bit conflicted, but what's not conflicting is CMC's contribution to this, where he has 173 total yards and 2 touchdowns. So, guy's a complete stud, top 2 running back this year. Everyone else didn't stay healthy for the 49ers, and CMC did this year. And with Scattaboo gone, on the flip side, Dart is the leading rusher and has 3 total touchdowns in this one. So Dart is a fantasy starter going forward for me. I don't own him in any leagues, but if I did, I would have to consider him weekly.
Yeah, Dart's been good. He's been fun to watch, and he's keeping them in games as best as he can without Neighbors, without Scattaboo. He's got Wandale and he's got Theo Johnson, right? So give him credit for that As for the Niners, I mean, it's just great. I mean, I'm a Shanahan guy, but I mean, to see the injuries that this team has gone through and these guys are still winning, I just find it really amazing. I mean, I think he should be considered coach of the year if this keeps going. Really amazing. CMC's put the offense on his back. I mean, though Mac, I mean, deserves credit for sure. Brian Robinson got some more run this game. He scored a touchdown. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he starts to lighten the load on CMC a little bit. I mean, maybe they're starting to look ahead. Maybe they're starting to look to the playoffs. The wide receivers, I mean, Jennings looked good. He seems to be getting a little healthier. I mean, Pearsall's got to come back. I mean, that's so frustrating. All those other guys went down. Even Jennings was down, and it was time for Pearsall to shine, and then he got hurt. Kendrick Bourne has come back to life, or come back to earth, I should say, with some quiet games. But the Niners pulled it out, on the road. So good for them.
Absolutely. I will say that the 49ers should start to get healthier relatively quickly. Like, they're not opening Ayuk's window, which is concerning to me. So we'll see what that means going forward. All right. Anything else on this matchup? Jaguars at Raiders. I picked the Jaguars. Alex picked the Jaguars. Jerome picked the Raiders. In overtime, both teams score a touchdown, but the Raiders lose with a missed 2-point conversion. Geno Smith has his best day as a Raider for passing touchdowns. Running game still is not great, and I don't know why it's not great because I spent quite the pick on Genty. But Brock Bowers returns to the lineup, goes 13-12, so 13 targets, 12 catches for 127 yards and 3 touchdowns. He is the entire offense as of right now, and especially with Jacoby Myers on the move to Jacksonville. I wonder if they agreed to this deal when they were playing against each other this week. Actually, wonder if the two GMs were hammering out a trade during overtime. Always fun when that happens.
Yeah.
But Trevor Lawrence doesn't throw for a touchdown. He rushes for 2. And picking up Parker Washington with Travis Hunter going on IR has proven to be a smart move, but that is not as smart anymore with Jacoby Myers entering the scene. But we also don't know what Brian Thomas Jr. is going to look like after this. But I know we hadn't mentioned last week because it happened in practice at the end of last week. But Travis Hunter has a knee injury and ended up on IR. They say the ACL is intact, but I did freak out a little bit with the quickness to go on IR.
Yeah, no, I agree. This game was great. Now the OT rules that allow both teams to get the ball in OT even after a touchdown, I think is great. I think it makes the game longer. It makes the fantasy stats go bigger. All that I love. Geno, you talked about the run game and Geno and Bowers. I almost wonder if the Raiders just said, you know what, we're just going to take what you give us, right? And if the Jags, I mean, Jags got a decent defense, and if the Jags were focused on shutting down the run, I mean, maybe the game plan for the Raiders was just to, pass it like crazy. Getting Bowers back definitely helped. 13 targets, as far as the Jaguars on offense, I don't know it just doesn't seem like it's working, it just doesn't seem right. I can't pinpoint what it is, but I mean, they're winning a couple of games. I mean, their defense is good. I mean, I feel like I don't know, they're okay, but I don't know, there's no leap, the leap from Lawrence, that leap from BTJ. I mean, ETN's been your bell cow. I mean, that has stayed intact since week 1, but and then the Tank Bigsby trade. But I don't know. I think everybody was betting on Liam Cohen. Looking back to the offseason, I remember seeing Brian Thomas Jr. being ranked higher than Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? And, a lot of probably what went into that was Liam Cohen going to be the offensive coordinator there, head coach, I should say. His offense there where Detroit was losing Ben Johnson, right? So good vibes with the Jags, bad vibes with the Lions. BTJ was so hot the second half of last year. everybody just kind of assumed he was going to keep going or take that next step, and it just hasn't happened.
That's very fair. Um, However, they're winning, so I think they're 5-2, 5-3. So at the end of the day, getting W's is all that Liam Cohen's there for, and they're doing it. And is it
Yeah, they're
pretty?
5-3.
Is it pretty? No. But do they have a winning record by 2 games? Yes, they do. So I do expect that to be the formula going forward. And Jacoby Myers is more of a not an all-in move. I think that's overselling it, but more of a 2025 move. They're hoping to make the playoffs this year, but as I said, I think it's going to be the Colts and no one else from the South as of right now.
I agree.
Injuries happen, as you know, but I still don't see that helping the Jaguars. So next game here was the Saints at the Rams. This was my lock of the week. This was my survivor pick. I've made it 9 weeks now. Rams, we all pick the Rams, and Rams make easy work in Shuck's NFL debut. 34-10. Shuck did look all right in his NFL debut, but the run game is non-existent. So I don't know what the heck is going on there with Neal and Kamara and just even Taysom Hill. They need to have a run game to support this rookie quarterback. And Shaheed was his leading target, and that's interesting. I don't know if this was a showcase for Shaheed, but he is now a Seahawk. And Nakua got hurt again. They say it's not too serious, and he scores a touchdown. Feel like that's rinse and repeat with Nakua. He does get injured every game, plays the game very hard, which does lend the question how long his career will last. But obviously a great wide receiver as long as he plays. With Nakua going down, Adams gets 2 passing touchdowns, so he's a touchdown machine this year. Stafford is unbelievable this year. I think he's leading the NFL in touchdowns thrown this year. And Kyron Williams goes 25 carries for 114 yards and a touchdown. Finally, a 100-yard day for him. And as I said, Stafford had 4 passing touchdowns. And literally every single star that they have 8 in this matchup.
Yeah, Rams have been great. Stafford's been great. Considering the back injury and the preseason and all the what ifs and all this stuff, Stafford was dirt cheap in fantasy drafts. I was the primary beneficiary on taking that risk in more than a couple of leagues, and it's worked out so far. Like you said, all the studs were scoring for the Rams. Shaheed's gone. I think Juwan Johnson's going to be one of the new primary targets for Shuck. I think that's just, he's going to value that safety net, that intermediate, 10-yard short pass safety net. And I think you already started to see that happen this week. With Johnson catching a touchdown. But Shook just, I don't know. He just looks kind of tall and slow back there. And the Saints traded an offensive lineman today. So, they are doing no favors for their rookie QB with no run game, and you trade a wideout and you trade an offensive lineman. It's not looking good for Shuck to, try to figure it out.
They're throwing in the towel, it feels like. But this does open up their ability to throw to Vele that they traded for and extend Olave. And Brandon Cooks probably should have been traded, but it is what it is, I guess, at this point. And let's see here. I think that is about it that I have on the Rams and the Saints. Rams good, Saints bad. That's caveman talk, but that's pretty accurate here. I think the Rams and Seahawks right now might be the class of the NFC, and I think if the Buccaneers could be healthy, they would be in that conversation. I think if Green Bay could get their ineptitude fixed, I think that they could be in that conversation, and I think if the Eagles didn't have all this infighting, they could be in that conversation as well. But as far as complete teams feel, the Rams feel like one of the complete teams. Seahawks also feel like a complete team right now, especially with adding weapons here at the trade deadline.
Yeah, those top 15 teams in the NFL right now, they're all 6-2 or 5-3 seemingly, right? There's a bunch of them.
Yep.
So Eagles 6-2, Bucks 6-2, Rams 6-2, Seattle 6-2, Green Bay 5-2-1. Then you got San Fran at 6-3, Detroit at 5-3. I mean, that's the NFC. I mean, so who the heck knows how that's going to go the rest of the season? It's anybody's game. You know, Colts are the only team. Well, I can't say that anymore. Colts, Patriots, and Broncos are the 3 teams with 7 wins in the NFL.
And I think the Colts are the most complete team. I think the Broncos are missing offense, and I think the Patriots are riding a hot streak right now, and we'll see if they can continue it. All right. Game of the week is up next here. It is the Chiefs at the Bills. You and I picked the Bills. Alex picked the Chiefs. The Bills did win this game in the regular season per usual. We talked about this last week, 28-21. Allen and Cook both had excellent days. Cook with 114 rush yards and Allen with 3 total touchdowns. Kincaid also tops 100 yards and a touchdown as well. And Mahomes has one of his worst days at the office with 0 touchdowns. What's your thoughts on this matchup here?
I watched this game. I got a Bills fan in the house, so we had it on. And I mean, Mahomes got hit a lot. And it felt like the Super Bowl against the Eagles, where they just were all over him and he just couldn't get anything going. And he was stretching plays and he was taking hits because he was holding onto the ball as long as he could and trying to create something. I mean, I was just waiting for something to happen to Mahomes. So, yeah, I mean, it just wasn't there, you know? And even then, even with that, the Bills still gave the Chiefs hope. You know, they were up 7. They're driving late in the 4th, and Matt Prater kicks a field goal off the post. And Chiefs got the ball with good field position. There was like maybe a minute or 2 left. Mahomes, I mean, you just knew that Mahomes was going to somehow tie this game, and it didn't happen. So he did not ruin the script of the Bills being 4-0 in their last 4 regular season games against the Chiefs. Assuming they play each other in the playoffs, we'll see if Mahomes can keep the 4-0 winning record that he has against the Bills in the playoffs. But until then, I mean, the Chiefs drop to 5-4. Technically, I mean, I don't even think the Chiefs are in the playoff picture at this exact moment. They have to win some more games.
Yeah, they will. They obviously will. But the way to beat Mahomes is to pressure him. And I think the stat was 7 or more QB pressures in a game or QB hits in a game. It'll knock him right off of his rhythm, and that is what happened here. Buffalo has a great game plan for the Chiefs, especially in the regular season. We'll see if they can continue it in the postseason.
Yep, agreed.
All right. Hop over to the 2 primetime games here. We have the Seahawks at the Commanders. You picked the Commanders. Alex and I picked the Seahawks. The Seahawks did win this matchup. Arnold completed his first 16 passes, 4 of which were for touchdowns. Seahawks win this matchup 38-14. The Commanders did fall behind 28-0. It was a 3 sides of the ball domination, special teams, defense, and offense. Darnold had 3 total incompletions, 4 touchdowns, as I said, so he had more touchdowns than incompletions in this matchup, which is pretty rare.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Walker and Charbonnet. I keep beating this drum every week, and they're very hard starts right now in fantasy. We just don't know who's going to produce, because someone needs to score in order to be startable at this point. They're splitting so much that the yards aren't enough to justify starting them. One of them needs to score. And then Torrey Horton had his coming out party here. I don't know. He might be going back to where he was before because of the Raheed Shaheed acquisition, so he might need to have a coming out party again next year. But we also have the big news from this game with 5 minutes left in this blowout. The Commanders lose Jaden Daniels to a brutal brutal looking dislocated elbow. Thoughts on that? That was brutal.
I mean, Dan Quinn fell on the sword here. I mean, he said post game that he should have had Jaden out of the game.
Good for him,
But
because I believe that to be true.
yeah, easy to say that now, but Quinn seems like the kind of man that would own it, and he did. So, I mean, Mariota's been good. I've been a Mariota guy. I have scooped him in a couple fantasy leagues. I think he could run this offense. I mean, I think the problem is that there's just nothing there. I think McLaurin's hurt. I think Debo's kind of toast. Now McCaffrey's out. Lane is pretty good. He's got a little pop, but beyond that, Ja'Cory, just not feeling it with the Commanders, even though I thought this was going to be a get right for them, and I was the only one out of the three of us to pick them. But Darnold made me look pretty silly. I mean, he put this game away in the first half, and it was not even close.
He did throw one interception. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I think he tried to make me feel better at the end, but
that was one of his incompletions.
Yeah. So to give the Seahawks some credit, the defense is there with McDonald as head coach. The D's there. The offense is coming around. JSN's great. It's happening with this offense. Though at the beginning of the season, I was betting on the offense being Walker's. I did not think the offense was going to be Darnold's. I did not think it was going to be JSN. I thought this was going to be Walker's offense, and those guys were going to be supporting cast. It's flipped.
Yeah, that's fair. And there was a lot of people calling for Jalen Milroe also on this offense, so Darnold has kind of shut them up as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that was one of our. So Dan. Before I hop over to the next game, Daniels will be out for the foreseeable future. There is a chance that he could return this year, but for all intents and purposes, I am going to say that the Commanders are probably eliminated from the postseason this year.
Yeah, I mean, they are currently 3-6. They've got to play Detroit, Denver, Minnesota, Dallas, Philly twice, Giants. I can't see how they get to 500.
Yeah, I don't either. It has to be disappointing going into year 2. Also, I don't really understand what they did this offseason to help Jaden Daniels. I don't think trading for Debo really moves the needle that much. Getting a young receiver that he can grow with would have been a much better decision, but that did not happen. Maybe if the Jaguars do trade Brian Thomas Jr. in the offseason, potentially he could go there. And we have one matchup left here. It was the Cardinals at the Cowboys. We all picked the Cowboys. Cowboys did lose this matchup. And honestly, the Cowboys ended up blowing this one because they had plenty of opportunities to get back into this game. And the drops really killed this team. Dak wasn't his best, but the drops really hurt the team. 27-17 victory for the Cardinals. Brissett, on the other hand, looked good as a starter. He's going to be the starter for the foreseeable future, as they announced Murray is going to be out of action for a 4 to 8 week period of time. What wasn't clear when I was looking at that was, does the 4 to 8 week period start now, or does it start from when he started missing games? So that's what I haven't quite figured out. If it's 4 to 8 now, it could be the season. I think that Murray is an unfortunate scapegoat. And if you look at the Cardinals, they were leading every game that Murray started going into the fourth quarter. They had that one DeMarcado fumble into the end zone that they should have had a win in that matchup. Mm-hmm. So this season could look very different if they knew how to hold a lead. And I think blaming everything on Kyler Murray here is not appropriate either. But speaking of DeMarcado, he was the leading rusher in this game. And Harrison loves Brissett, but the coach did say right after the game that Kyler Murray is his starting quarterback when he's back. So I don't know what that means.
I think that starting Brissett is a no-brainer, at least for this season. And then I think you go into the offseason and you see what happens. Kyler's just not, he just doesn't come across as a good leader. He's a good QB, but I don't think he's great. I mean, he passed for 200 yards a couple of times this year, but I mean, every other game was sub 200 yards. Then you get Brissett, who's averaging like 300 yards. I mean, Kyler can scramble a little bit, which gives a different element, but I mean, even that different element was not producing wins. Brissett is producing wins, or at least a chance to win. He's producing fantasy points, which we all care about. So I mean, I think they move on from Kyler. I mean, I think the proof is in the pudding. I think they move
For
on.
sure.
I mean, even when they paid him, I mean, it didn't feel right. It didn't seem like people were excited about it. I mean, the whole thing was just odd, right? And he's not studying the playbook and all this stuff. I mean, just not a great leader of men for that team. And he's not a great QB. I mean, he had that great rookie year, right? Was it a rookie year or his second year? I mean, he was
He hasn't.
unbelievable then.
It's been since the ACL that he hasn't been the same, which is interesting because I don't believe Carson Wentz has been the same since.
Yeah. I mean, his first 3 seasons, 19, 20, and 21, he was QB6, QB3, QB10.
Absolutely.
I mean, that QB3 year, he ran for 800 yards and 11 touchdowns and threw for almost 4,000 yards and passed for 26 touchdowns. So, I mean, those days are over. That's not the QB anymore. So I think they move on. Marvin Harrison, it was nice to see him get going with Brissett. I mean, it seemed like every pass play in the first half was going to Marvin. He had 6 catches in the first half, tying his career high for catches in a full game. It just felt like that was the game plan and it was working. The Cowboys, the whole thing just didn't work. They couldn't get anything going. They had turnovers or on downs, 2 separate occasions, I think, down like in the red area. They just couldn't get it going. Even if they were moving the ball, there was no points. There was no field goal because they were going for it. Surprisingly, Jaden Blue was inactive this game. Malik Davis was the backup in this game.
And he's
And
gone.
then today they released Malik Davis. So I don't know what is going on in that backfield. I mean, I don't even know if it matters, really, what else is going on behind Javante. I mean, just keep picking somebody as the handcuff, and at some point, somebody's going to be
Musical
right.
chairs will stop. Musical chair. I think Blue will be the backup going forward just with all the moves that they're making, but that's to be determined. And I don't know. They didn't make any moves at the deadline, so there is that as well. Anything else on this matchup before we hop to our Week 10 primer? All right, so Week 10. Let's get you guys ready for Week 10 here. We have the bye weeks of the Bengals, Cowboys, Chiefs, and Titans. Everyone should get those players out of their lineup. And the first matchup here, our Thursday night matchup, is the Raiders at the Broncos. And I do have Alex's picks again. And he is going the Broncos in this matchup, as am I. Who you got, Jerome?
I'm gonna stick with the Broncos. I'm gonna make it.
Yeah, I don't know how you can take the Raiders in that game. All right. So we have another international game, 9:30 a.m. start time. We have the Falcons at the Colts. So 2 indoor teams traveling overseas, I think Spain for this one. I have to look that up real quick here. It is at Olympic Stadium in Berlin, Germany. So I don't know if Olympic Stadium is indoor because we were just talking about how the Colts don't like to play outdoors as well. So
Yeah, I'm not sure.
that is gonna impact my decision here. And it looks like it's an open stadium and it fits 75,000 fans. So it does. I can't tell if it's a clear dome or if it's a complete outdoor park. But I don't know how I can go against the Colts here, even if the Falcons look better. The Colts look bad last week. I think the NFL rights itself after a week here. And Alex also went the Colts. Who are you taking here?
I think the Colts get back on track.
I'm struggling here because this is one of my survivor thoughts of the week is the Colts versus the Falcons. Just so we're clear here. All right. That brings us to the Ravens at the Vikings. Alex has picked the Ravens. I have also picked the Ravens. Who are you going with, Jerome?
I'm going to pick the Ravens too. I just cannot get behind J.J. McCarthy led Minnesota team right now.
Purple team versus purple team. Purple Bowl. I feel like we could call it like the Barney Bowl or something. All right. Bills at Dolphins is the next game up. And I'd already picked the Bills against the Dolphins for the Survivor earlier in the season. And I'm going to go with the Bills in this one. I can't use them as my Survivor pick, though. And Alex is also going the Bills. You think Mike McDaniel gets a win here?
It is at home, but I'm going the Bills.
Man, 4 for 4 to start off. That's pretty rare. All right. Hopefully we start to get some differences here. The next one is the Browns at the Jets. Alex picks the Browns, and I'm picking the Browns as well. This is a Survivor thought of the week as well, too, but I hate picking road teams for that.
Yeah, and I can't see the Jets locker room rallying after a trade deadline of selling.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to pick the Browns.
The Browns. All right. So that's 5 for 5 here to start off. We have the next matchup here, the Jaguars at the Texans. I'm going to go the Texans reluctantly here. If the Texans somehow lose this matchup again, because they've already lost to them to start the season, then this is probably the end of any hope of a playoff berth for the Texans here. Alex is also going the Texans, and who do you have, Jerome?
I was thinking Texans when I thought I was going to be the only one picking the Texans.
Lot
I'm going to
hinges
go the
on
Jaguars.
Stroud.
I'm going to go the Jaguars. Yeah, I'm not going to put my money on a Texans team with Davis Mills.
Yeah, and I think we all can admit a lot hinges on whether CJ Stroud starts or not. He's in concussion protocol right now. Something for everyone to monitor as the week goes on. Next matchup is the Patriots at the Buccaneers. Alex is going with the Buccaneers here. I'm also going with the Buccaneers here. I feel like he copied me, even though he's not here to defend himself. And who are you going with here?
Buccaneers.
I just feel like the Patriots are riding a hot streak that's not sustainable, and it'll come to an end here, especially if Bucky Irving and Chris Godwin play. All right, Saints at Panthers here. Could the Panthers get their 6th victory of the year? What would they be, 6-3? That'd be crazy. They double their losses, basically. I'm gonna go the Panthers in this matchup. Alex is going the Panthers in this matchup, and you are going
Panthers.
This is another Survivor thought of the week for me as well. Got lots of thoughts this week. I'll tell you who I'm leaning right now, but we haven't gotten to that game just yet. Next matchup, we have the Giants at the Bears, and Alex is going the Bears, and I'm also going to be going the Bears. If Scadaboo is playing this game, I probably go the Giants, but I don't really believe they have a run game or a pass game with Neighbors out too, so
Yes, Bears.
all right. Next matchup that we have here is the Cardinals at the Seahawks. Now, this is one of the matchups that I was thinking about for my Survivor pool. Kind of leaning a little bit towards this one and how good the Seahawks looked on Sunday night. I'm going to take the Seahawks again here. I really do hate taking divisional matchups, though, for Survivor pool, because I think anything can happen in divisional matchups.
I'm going the other way. I'm going the Cardinals. I'm going to make you think twice about that Survivor pick. I think the team rallies around the coach making the right decision with the QB. And I think they show up, and I think they play, and I think they find a way to get this win.
Maybe. They're going from playing one of the worst defenses in the league, where they put up 27 points, to one of the best defenses in the league. So I agree with you that there is a possibility of that, but I do think that this is a better defense. They have Raheed Shaheed also joining the team, which is, I know you like.
Yeah, I would pick the Panthers over the Saints in Survivor if I had to pick between that matchup and this one.
And save the Seahawks. You're probably not wrong on that one. Well, good thing I have another sleep to think about it, so one more sleep. And Alex is going the Panthers. Or not the Panthers. We're just talking about the Panthers, and I just read it off the sheet here. He's going the Seahawks as well. Next one here is the Lions at the Commanders. He's going the Lions. I'm going the Lions because I don't believe Marcus Mariota can beat a team like the Lions. And you are going
Lions.
Were you really thinking about Commanders?
No, you're just talking about my boy Mariota. Made me cringe.
Yeah. Yep. And you have McLaurin still out, and I don't really like what they did at running back this year. They should have kept Brian Robinson Jr.
Yeah.
I don't think it made it better I don't think that made the team better by trading him away when they did. So for me, year 2 quarterback, what are you doing? And so Jaden Daniels does have a lot of talent, but he's going to need an offensive coach and an offensive GM that is going to get him the pieces to put around him, because that's going to be very crucial when you look at you need to build the run game around him, first of all, and then you need to get younger at both receiver positions, in my opinion. And they've paid McLaurin, so here you go. He's out.
Yeah.
He is out. All right. Last 3 matchups here. We have the Rams at the 49ers. A divisional matchup here. 49ers are getting a little more healthy, but no Ayuk. Don't know what to expect with Purdy. They're saying that he's not going to be fully healthy all year. So even when he goes back in, he has a chance of re-injury with that toe. And Alex here picked the Rams. I'm picking the Rams as well. And Jerome, you are picking...
I'm picking the 49ers.
Wow. Stafford's just so hot right now. On fire.
He is. Assuming Purdy plays, I think Purdy is the spark.
Do you
And
have
not
any
even that the
rust
Niners
worries there?
Not even that the Niners need a spark. But no, I think they just, rust-wise, yeah, maybe. You got CMC maybe to help shoulder the load until he puts himself together, but I don't know. I think the Niners find a way at home.
We will see. Good call, though. I know you like to be bold.
All my bold picks were wrong last week, I think.
Hey, maybe I should pick the Seahawks then in my Survivor Bowl.
Yeah.
So we're at Sunday Night Football here, and we have the Steelers at the Chargers. I don't know. These teams have pretty good records, but this doesn't excite me a ton. I don't know how you feel about this matchup, but I feel like I should be a lot more excited for this matchup. But these teams aren't playing their best ball right now, and I think that's why I'm not excited about it.
Yeah, they're both confusing teams, which I think takes away the excitement, right? If they were both hot, then you'd be like, okay, let's go. But Steelers, I think the Steelers win. I'm taking the Steelers. I think I've never been a Chargers guy. I've never been a Herbert guy. I think
you agree with Alex on this one.
I think the Steelers win.
Alex does too. So Alex has got the Steelers, and I'm going to go the home team, the Chargers here. But I will agree with you here that this is a 50-50 matchup. Chargers do not have a great home field advantage. Steelers travel very well with their fans. So this could be a road game for the Chargers at home. All right, Monday Night Football. We have the Eagles at the Packers. And I can't imagine that loss sits well with Green Bay. So give me the Packers in this matchup. Jerome, who do you have in this matchup here?
Who did Alex take?
He is going the Eagles.
Okay, so it's split.
You got to be the tiebreaker. I just hate the Eagles dynamic.
I think the Packers get right. I think the Packers are going to be ticked off they lost to the Panthers, and they're going to be home, and I think they make it happen.
Home on the range. All right. Anything else to add to these matchups?
That's all I've got.
All right, I'm out of things as well. Good luck, everybody, this week.
Yeah, well, that does it for another episode of the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast. Thank you for downloading or listening to this episode. Please don't forget to like or subscribe. Please leave us a comment and share the show. Every little bit helps.
You can find us on all podcasting apps by searching N2E Fantasy and with our handle at N2E Fantasy on all social media platforms. Please join our community and give us a follow. Until next time, take care of yourselves and remember, it's truly never too early for fantasy football. Thank you again. Bye, everybody.